From early in our professional lives, we have devoted ourselves to what we both believe to be the sacred cause of competition. For Maurice, it was prosecuting anti-competitive restraints and mergers at the U.S. Department of Justice. For Ariel, it was establishing an institute at Oxford dedicated to promoting competition law and policy. Through our studies and our work, we learn that competition is indeed often the perfect cure, an engine for modern prosperity. And we continue every year to instill in our students the lessons about the benefits of competition. However, while we still believe that competition is often good, we also now recognize that politicians and policymakers have been pushing competition as a magical elixir, even when it is ill-suited for the task at hand. We've also noticed that the competition ideal has been misused as a cover to promote policies that may actively harm citizens, while benefiting the companies that are exploiting them. Sometimes unwittingly, sometimes cynically, our lawmakers have sold us out, taking away our protections and removing our safety net, all in the name of encouraging ever more competition. So we set out to answer the question, is competition always good? And if not, when not? As two competition scholars, we initially found ourselves in foreign terrain, wandering far from the path which we ourselves, as well as our colleagues, have always followed. Many of our antitrust colleagues stared at us blankly. Wait, are you saying that competition at times is bad? Some were polite, others chuckled, a few were incredulous. Our progressive colleagues thought we were turning our backs on what they see as the most significant market power problem in the United States and the European Union, that too many markets have too little healthy competition and are therefore dominated by a powerful few. And if you think about GAFA, Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, they certainly have a point. Our conservative friends were also deeply suspicious of our journey. Competition isn't the problem, they tell us. What you must be describing are simply isolated instances of market failure, which are not representative of any inherent problems with competition itself. For them, our inquiry threatened to provide ammunition for the government to overregulate, thereby stifling innovation and competition. But as we continued with our journey, we found many people from all walks of life who welcomed our findings. They knew something had gone wrong. Some of those from whom we expected the greatest skepticism, namely the top officials of several leading competition authorities, were actually the most realistic, as well as very helpful in our research, in pointing out how competition isn't always what it's cracked up to be. And the person we might have expected to have the least to say about this particular subject, an applied mathematics professor of complex systems from South Africa's University of Cape Town and co-author of one of Stephen Hawking's most influential papers, had perhaps the most profound observations. He helped us understand why the competitive metrics that we employ to measure our successes often leave us hungry and unsatisfied. He inspired in us the idea that the type of competition we encourage can be about more than the simple goal of winning, can reflect some higher purpose. And so we invite you to join us on this inquiry. We'll see in our first overdose how toxic competition is fueling a race among elite universities to woo our children, only to reject them. While you might chuckle at the Dear Genevieve letter in Chapter 1, it will certainly change your view of the admissions process and the materials you or your children might receive from some of the leading universities. We'll see how even powerful brands like Harvard and Princeton cannot stop this race to the bottom. From elite universities, we'll turn to the horsemeat scandal that plagued the European food industry a few years ago. What does horsemeat in our lasagna and our hamburgers have to do with competition? Welcome to our second overdose, where we'll collect the shrapnel from the explosion of the loosely regulated, unmonitored competition machine and examine the damage it does to quality, to the environment, to workers, to safety, and ultimately, to us. No journey on toxic competition would be complete without a trip to Las Vegas, where you know you will be taken, but not exactly how. Here, in our third overdose, we'll see how the hotel, car rental, and airplane booking sites are all fiercely competing for our business. On the surface, this competition appears to be to our advantage, but appearances are deceiving.